to Handmade Happenings. I'm Marissa. Today I'm showing you how to sew darts. Darts are pretty necessary in sewing, particularly for making garments because they provide the shape to your finished product. And they're not that hard to sew, however they are something that it took me a long time to figure out. So here we have an example of darts in a pattern. This one has one at the shoulder and then one at the waist. And it's pretty simple. It's just an upside down V. The lines are considered the leg of the dart, and then where they intersect is the point. Now, I am not in the process of making any large garment, so I am going to demonstrate today on a doll size just to save fabric. You're going to start out just by cutting out your pattern like you normally would. This one is a front bodice piece, so it's going to be cut on the fold. So now you need to mark the darts, and this is the part that really always confused me. And the simplest way I've found to do it is to start by taking your scissors and just marking a very small clip at either leg of the dart. And this needs to be smaller than your seam allowance. Obviously, if you're doing a human-sized garment, this isn't a big deal. You have a lot of room. With these smaller ones, it's harder because you have to have really small notches. So that's how I mark the legs of the dart. But to mark the point of the dart, it's a little harder because obviously I can't cut a notch right there. So what I do is I take a pin, and right at the point of the dart, I stick it through the pattern, just straight down like that. Then I go ahead and remove the rest of the pattern pieces, and I flip it over. Take a needle with thread, go ahead and knot the end. And what I have found, and I don't know that this will show up on camera, but I have found that when I pull the needle out of this, it will leave a small hole. In fact, it's a pretty big hole here because I pushed it in and out. And then I just take my needle and thread and pull it through very carefully. If I pull it too hard, that knot will just go right through the hole. And tie a knot. Now the hole will close back up. It's just it's basically the fibers of the fabric kind of being pushed apart. So they will close back up. And then I just repeat for the other one as well. You can sometimes mark it just by putting a pin through that spot and leaving the pin kind of loose in the fabric. But oftentimes I'm preparing things and then it's going to sit for a while I prepare other stuff. And the thread with the knots, I just find stays in a little better. So now you have two options for this. So you basically you can see where the notches are for the legs and then where the thread is to mark the point. And to sew a dart, what you do is you line up those notches and basically just should fold it. The thread should be right on the fold. And you're just going to sew from down here a straight line up to the thread. Now when I do it, I just eyeball it. But if you're not comfortable with that or new to it, you can take a ruler and whatever you use to mark your fabrics with. This is just a chalk pen, and just draw the line. You only need to do this on one side, whichever side you're going to have facing up when you sew it, and just sew along this line. Once it's sewn, there are a couple things to note when sewing. You do start at the bottom of the dart. You can backstitch down here, but you want to go up and go straight off the fabric at the point without backstitching. If you feel the need to secure those ends, you want to just leave a long tail and tie it in a knot. And after I've sewn them, what I do is I just come back and I pull out these little markers. They should pop out fairly easily unless, of course, they accidentally got sewn over, in which case a small pair of scissors may be needed. The last step is just to press the darts. And you want to press them away from the center, so toward that side seam. This can be difficult if you have like a larger piece and you might need a pressing ham to keep it straight, but for the doll size, it's pretty easy. And there you go, that is a simple way to mark and sew a basic dart.